Hey you guys know what time it is. Yes, you guys know Simplicity Fall 2025 patterns just dropped and they are decent, okay? So they dropped, I wanna say about 30 patterns, but I'm only covering 16 patterns with you guys today. The numbers run from 3162 to 3192. But you guys know that I'm not covering any kids patterns, costume patterns, like any type of, I'm gonna cover the men's pattern just a little bit, but I'm not covering any type of bag patterns, home decor, apron patterns. We're not covering all that. We're gonna keep it apparel, okay? For the most part, that's what we're keeping it, all right? So without further ado, to keep this video short, sweet, and to the point, we're gonna go ahead and get into it, but I'm gonna share my screen with you guys because you guys enjoyed that from the last drop. When I did the Vogue drop, you guys liked the big on the screen. So I'm gonna do that again today for you guys. So we're gonna head on over to my computer so I could go ahead and do that for you guys. So before I do that, I wanna let you know what I am wearing. I am wearing a pattern from Battle of the Shirt Dress. This is New Look 6790. I'll put it up on the screen so you're able to see that. Drop it in the description box below. Anything that I mention a video for or a sew along for, check the description box below so you're able to get to that. Okay, so that's enough. All right, let's go ahead and look at the Simplicity Fall 2025 patterns. Let me know in the description box below which ones you are most interested in. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, you guys. So you guys know that the Simplicity Fall 2025 patterns just dropped on simplicity.com. And before we get started, let's go ahead and first talk about the sales that's going on right now. They have the Fall Classic Patterns $3.99 and up that ends September the 23rd. So you have a few more days, but first let's talk about the sales. So there's no promo code needed. It's New Look patterns for $3.99. Like I said in my last video, the New Look patterns $3.99. You know, y'all said fine, $3.99 it is because nobody's buying New Look patterns at $6.99, but we're not here for that, okay? The New Look patterns $3.99, Butterick on sale for $4.99, and Vogue patterns on sale for $6.99. Now y'all know Simplicity just dropped, so Simplicity patterns are not on sale. Just wait for the next sale. You're welcome. Now, in terms of McCall patterns, now you guys know Hobby Lobby is doing 99-cent patterns while supplies last. Now, I do know that some of the Hobby Lobby started putting patterns on sale for $2.99. So if you missed out on the 99-cent patterns, don't hit me up and be like, Rochelle, my store is now $2.99. It's while supplies last. Every store is different, so, you know, go to your Hobby Lobby and see if it's still 99 cents. Each store is different. Just want to make note of that. But let's go ahead and talk about these 15, 16 patterns that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. So one thing I'm going to mention is I'm not going to be doing kids patterns. I'm not going to be doing accessory patterns. We're going to keep it straight apparel fabric. You know, basically adult patterns, okay? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first pattern, being Madeline's pattern. Now these patterns run from 3162 to 3192. First pattern is 3162. This is a Mrs. Corset dress in 2 lengths by Madeline. And this one is basically a corset inspired sundress pattern. It's above knee or mini length. This one is a lined bodice, features a back grommet with lacing. It has invisible zipper, lace trim, you know, elegant front and back pin tucks for sure. Now this one in the photo, view A is done with a lightweight cotton sateen. And then view B is done in a linen blend in denim blue. And then that's what they have for that. Now, suggested fabrics you can use, just to name a few. I'm only naming a few because you guys can read that, okay? Chambray, cotton types, gingham, lightweight linen, linen blends, just to name a few there. You're going to need some contrast fabric. You can use chiffon, lace, lining fabric, some cotton, lawn, just to name a few there. You're going to need some interface, a lightweight, fusible interfacing for that. This is an average to sew for that. Now, this pattern does remind me of another pattern for sure, but we'll get there. Now, for this, you can get it in PDF and paper pattern. Now, I did check most of these or all of these you can get in PDF or paper pattern. Now, before you say PDF patterns make my head hurt, Rochelle, okay? It can be done in PDF or paper pattern. All right. Now, in terms of sizing for this pattern, 2 pattern envelopes, 8 to 16 on the first one, 18 to 26 on the second pattern envelope. If you do not know, if you see the QR code, that means there's going to be a sew along for this pattern. So stay tuned for Madeline's sew along for sure for that one. Now, I did say, first, let me go ahead and show you guys some of these photos, okay? I did say that, you know, this pattern reminds me of another pattern. Yes, it does. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. Not necessarily another pattern, but this is from Windsor. So I've seen this before. It's a corset cute denim mini dress. So it looks exactly like that. You know, it's $69.90 and it's basically brunch date, you know, fun at the fair type, you know, dress. I know I've seen this before. It's very, 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 very similar. So yeah, I've seen this before. But you could get it for the low on sale and make your own, okay? So instead of buying it for $69.99, you could definitely slash it. I'm just going to say you could slash it and probably make it for about every bit of less than $20. Hashtag winning, okay? Make your own. So in terms of kind of like what you're looking at in terms of pieces, you're going to need all 17 pieces in order to make that, okay? Yes, you're going to need that. Just to kind of look at what you will be doing, I would say definitely purchase the kit because I know Madeline normally have a kit that you can purchase from her. So definitely just purchase the kit if you can from Madeline. So let's look at the back of the pattern from Madeline as well. Now, in terms of notions, you will need a 12-inch invisible zipper, 14 half-inch grommet for this one, and then you're going to need some lace trim and ribbon or cording for that lace as well. All right, so that's what you're going to need in terms of the notions for this one as well. But once again, this one is $31.62. Let's move over to the next pattern, $31.63. Now, this one is a Mrs. and Woman dress with sleeve variation and 2 lengths. So this one is a fit and flare dress. It is a wardrobe staple. It features a shaped empire seam, gathered skirt, and a center back invisible zipper. The dress sits slightly above the waistline for a flattering silhouette. Now, view A has a clasp closure and soft puff sleeves. View B has a tie neck closure with soft puff sleeves, and then view C has a tie neck closure with long sleeve. Now, the fabric in the photos, like view C, is a charmeuse in white and navy polka dot print. For that one. And then the fabric suggestions are your cotton blends, gabardine, poplin, sateen, just to name a few. They claim you're going to need lining fabric, but you know, if you're doing cotton blends, are you going to use lining fabric? I'm just saying, to each his own. Now, you're going to need some interfacing, lightweight fusible interfacing. This is an average to sew. Like I mentioned, this one right here, $31.63, they claim it only comes in paper pattern. It does not come in PDF. Once again, let me say it a little bit slower for the people in the back. It comes in paper pattern, not PDF. I'm just going to say watch for it because it may or may not come in PDF. Now, according to this, it says it only comes in paper pattern, just so you know. In terms of sizing, it's 3 pattern envelopes, 10 to 18, 20 to 28W, and 30 to 38W, which means this pattern is size inclusive. For my ladies, that's over a size 24. Write this down, honey. This is size inclusive. So write this down, okay? For my plus ladies, write this down. It says woman, okay? Not Mrs. only, it's woman, okay? All right, we got one for my plus ladies, okay? We see y'all. All right, now, just to kind of show you guys a little bit more on this pattern. I like this pattern for sure. It reminds me of a Butterick pattern. This one, I actually like that Empire waist, just to, you know, be 100% honest. I like this fabric that they use in this black right here. I like the polka dot that they use. But before I get into what this reminds me of, let's take a look at the back of the pattern envelope in terms of notions. You're going to need a 24-inch invisible zipper in the back. If you are doing the women's size, you're going to need a 26-inch invisible zipper. For view A, you're going to need a metal clasp. And then for view C, you're going to need two 5/8-inch buttons for that. Okay. In terms of what this dress reminds me of, I have this pattern. It is Butterick 6168. It reminds me of, like, it's not the exact same one, but it's very similar. This one is a tunic or dress that have like that front neck tab. It's semi-fitted, front pleat bodice. It has like that raised waist, as well, self-lined front midriff and sleeves for this one. Now, this one is done in a linen. You could do Butterick 6168. I would definitely say look at the line art. It's not exactly the same, but it's very similar. If you have that one, you may or may not want to get this one that I'm sharing with you. 3163 right here, as you see on the screen. I actually like this one. I am going to be picking this one up, 3163. I am definitely going to be picking this up. Now, in terms of kind of like the pattern pieces, which is why I'm putting this up on the screen, I'm going to be honest, you're going to basically have at least 9 pattern pieces. For view A, it's like 9 pattern pieces. For view B, you're going to be looking at about 10. For view C, you're probably going to be looking at about 11, just give or take. So, I mean, if you're trying to look for something that to keep it underneath 7 pattern pieces or less, this pattern may not be for you. Just FYI. But that's what you're looking at for this pattern. Once again, it's simplicity. I'm not going to say simplicity after this one. 3163. All right, let's move over to the next pattern, 3164. This is an easy to sew pattern. It is a Mrs. and Mrs. Petite jumper. This pattern comes in only paper pattern, okay? In terms of sizing, it's 4 to 12 and 12 to 20 on this pattern. It is an A-line jumper dress. That's a versatile pattern. Now, this design, the design is semi-fitted through the bust with a deep V neckline, low armholes, and button front closure. View A has side seam pockets. View B and C have the line patch pockets. Now, for the fabric in the photo that you see, view B, it is a double face stretch wool suiting in a heathered gray. Okay, now fabric suggestions for this one. It's a cotton twill, medium weight denim, tweed, wool suiting, just to name a few. Lining fabrics is a suggestion. Interfacing, which is a lightweight fusible interfacing. Some helpful tutorials that may help you for this one is how to sew a bodice and lining continuous side seam. And like I mentioned, it's easy to sew. Now, I like this one. I'm going to be picking this one up, even though it does remind me of another pattern. I am very interested in what the model is wearing, view B. For this one, I like this for sure. I think this would be a great fall. This would be great for fall, but I could also see this one being done for winter time as well. In terms of the notion, the only thing you're going to need is buttons. So for all views A, B, and C, you're going to need 7/8-inch buttons. Now, in my neck of the woods, it's hard to find 7/8-inch buttons. I would go up to 1-inch buttons, but for view A and C, you're going to need 6. And then for view B, the view that I'm interested in, you're going to need 8. Okay. Now, this reminds me of 2 patterns. One is an Odie pattern. Okay, it reminds me of Simplicity 9759. This is a jumper essential pattern, and when I say it's old, It's old, okay? It's an ode. I think this pattern came out in the 90s sometimes. Yeah, it's old. And the reason why I say it's old is because A and B is the dress, and then view C is view A and B is a jumper dress, and then view C is a vest and or skirt, okay? So you have three different things that you can do on this pattern. It is a vintage from the 1990s, okay? Etsy, if you're interested, Etsy have this available for $6.07. And you can see it's low in stock, so there's only one left. So listen, first come, first serve, baby. And this is a well-trusted vendor, 4.9 out of 5. Look at the reviews, okay? Trusted vendor. Item quality, 5 out of 5. Shipping is a 5 out of 5. Customer service is 5 out of 5, baby. I only suggest those that's good. Make sure. Now, it is shipping from Canada, so the cost of shipping is going to be a little steep. I'm just saying, I'm only going to recommend those that have good ratings. All right, moving on from that. I'm not here to recommend a lot of things to you guys, but the other pattern that it reminds me of is New Look 6572. Now, if you have this pattern, the only thing you have to do is open it up and create a button placket. I'm not going to share how to do that, but you can do that. Pattern hacking, you can do that if you do not want to get the other one. But listen, I'm going to get the other pattern, like I shared with you guys right here, which is 3164, but I do have the New Look 6572 pattern as well. I mean, like $3.99 or hack it and spend like an hour doing that. We'll see. But I have this pattern. I like it, but it's close to 6572 as well. Now, 3164 in terms of what you're going to need, I already kind of told you that you're going to need some buttons for this one. In terms of pattern pieces, it's not many pattern pieces. For view A, it's basically like 4 pattern pieces. For view B, you're going to need 5 pattern pieces, and then view C, it's like 4 pattern pieces. So not many pattern pieces that you're going to need in order to do this. It's like a 5 and below, to be honest with you there. So not many pattern pieces, not many steps, easy to sew. Now for me, I would make this one and then put like a button down shirt with it. And wear it to work. You could even do it with a turtleneck as well. Just basically do a turtleneck shirt, wear it with a turtleneck, wear it with a button-down shirt, and you're good to go. But once again, it's 3164. Moving over to the next one is 3165. It's a one shoulder dress in 3 different lengths. Now this one comes in PDF and paper pattern. In terms of sizing, it's 10 to 18 and 16 to 24. Now this one is a one shoulder dress pattern in 3 different lengths. View A and view B features a decorative bow at the shoulders. Super cute. All right, so it's designed on the bias for a beautiful drape. Each dress have a side zipper opening and a baby hem. Now, the fabric for view B that you see on the model is a polyester crepe. And then the suggested fabrics are your chemise, your challis, your cotton blends, crepes, just to name a few. Interfacing, you will need lightweight fusible interfacing. Helpful tutorials that you can use is baby hems, aka designer hems. You can watch that video. This is an average to sew pattern. All right. So in terms of, I did mention the sizing, but this is super cute. I like what the model is wearing in the photos right here. Let's talk about the notion. So in terms of notions, you're going to need a 14-inch invisible zipper. And you're going to need twill tape for hanging loops. So you're going to create some hanging loops as well. In terms of like the bust, if you look at the finished garment measurement, 34.5 to 48, I wouldn't say it's all the waist size inclusive, but the biggest size is a 48-inch bust. And then for the waist is 41.5 inches. So it doesn't cover our plus size girlies, but it doesn't go all the way up. So yeah, but that's what it is. In terms of kind of like the pattern pieces, if you are doing view A, you're going to need all eight pattern pieces. View B, you're going to need all of them. And then view C, you're going to need 7 pattern pieces. So I mean, like for this pattern, it's not a lot of pattern pieces you're going to need. It's still keeping it at about 7, 8 pattern pieces, which is not bad. For this one, you're going to need some lining fabric. So be prepared to, you know, line this dress because that's what you're going to need to do for this dress, and it has a zipper, okay? But once again, it's $31.65. Moving over to the next one is $31.66, which is a cow neck top and sleeve, okay? This is a paper pattern only. In terms of sizing, it's 10 to 18 and 18 to 26 on the second pattern envelope. Now, this cow neck top includes 3 different variations. Okay, so view A is backless with a halter neck and side zipper opening. View B is a pullover style with the cap sleeves and keyhole back, as you see in the back with the 3 buttons. And then view C is a pullover style with bell sleeves and a keyhole back, as you see here in the line art. Okay, and then the fabric that's used for the model is a visco, silk and visco crepe. Okay. In terms of the fabric suggestions, you have your challis, your shade mousse, your crepe, your stable knits, just to name a few. You're going to need some fusible interfacing. This is an average to sew pattern. I like what the model is wearing. That's the one that I would be interested in if I was to, you know, basically get this pattern. Now I can't wear nothing backless at work, but I would get this for like a date night. That would be cute for that. You know, any type of special occasions, you know, I think that would be cute for that. I would be interested in view A, but for work, I could see myself doing view C. In terms of notions, for all views, you're going to need 3 3/8" buttons. For view A, you're going to need 1 12" invisible zipper there, and then you're also going to need some elastic to go around the back to secure that, you know, to have your back out a little bit. All right, something really cute and sexy. All right. In terms of the pattern pieces, let's look at the pattern pieces for this one. So in terms of the pattern pieces for $31.66, it's not a lot of pattern pieces, to be honest. View A is about 6 pattern pieces plus an elastic guide. View B, you're looking at about 6 pattern pieces as well. And then view C, you're looking at about 6 pattern pieces as well. So all in all, it's 11 pattern pieces, but to do each view, you're looking at about 6 pattern pieces. So it's not so bad for this one. But yeah, once again, this pattern is $31.66. Moving over to the next pattern is $31.67. Y'all know good old Mimi G. Okay. It's an off-the-shoulder knit top and woven trouser. Now, y'all know I did a video just a couple of days ago, like last week. And we're going to get there about that video. All right. But this is Mimi G's pattern for the fall. It's super cute. I'm going to be picking this pattern up. Now, this pattern comes in both PDF and paper pattern, and the size for this pattern is 8 to 16 and 18 to 26 on the second pattern envelope. Now, the top is close fitting off the shoulder knit top. It has the ruche fold over details, extra long sleeves, and stitched hem for this one. In terms of the pants are your crop barrel leg pants with front pleats, side pockets, back welt pockets, and stitched hem there. Okay, so the pants are really loose fitting for comfort. Now in the photo, Mimi G decided to go with a 2-way stretch knit in tan for view A. View B, she went with a linen blend suiting in like a light beige. Okay, in terms of fabric suggestion for view A, you're going to need some knit, whether it's bamboo, ITY, jersey, rib knit. You could pretty much use Ponte knit as well for that. For view B, the pants, you can use cotton blends, gabardine, denim, linen blends, just to name a few, twill, if you will. I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but hey, do what you do. You will need some interfacing, lightweight fusible interfacing for this one. It is an average to sew there as well. All right. So I like how Mimi styled this one as well. Like Mimi never missed with the styling at all, okay? So I do like this one. I will be picking this pattern up. Now, before you guys ask me, like, Rochelle, you know, you did a whole Mimi G 34 fall patterns put on trial, which I'll put that up here shortly. But first, let's get into the notions. For view A, the only thing you're going to need is elastic. For view B, the only thing you're going to need there is a 7-inch exposed zipper, exposed or all-purpose zipper. You're also going to need 1 5/8-inch buttons and a hook and bar closure, okay? That's all you're going to need. Now, I did a video on the 34 patterns put on trial for Mimi G. Sew it or skip it, okay? I did that video, and this is what it looks like. And you guys, y'all thought that I was gonna like bash Mimi. No, I'm not. I like her patterns are really good. Majority of the patterns from that video is a sew it. It was a few of them that was fented. It wasn't many of them that I skipped in that video. If you missed that video, go back to that video and you will see all the patterns that she released from 2014 to 2024 that are all fall patterns. All right. I knew she was getting ready to drop her fall 2024 pattern, which is why I felt that, you know, hey, go over and see her, you know, her patterns from 2014 to 2024. Now she just dropped 2025 and this one is on the list. I'll get to her other one here shortly. All right. Now I did mention that, you know, this pattern reminds me of another pattern, 2 patterns. Okay. So the top reminds me of a previous pattern that she did. I don't remember what year. I think this one is 2016 or 2017. The pattern is, of course, Simplicity 8045. Now, this pattern is basically one of those patterns that she did with the fold over. It's a dress, but she just pretty much cut it off at the waist and basically had some ruching going on, whatnot. If you have this pattern, you know, you could just use this pattern instead of the 3167. But like I said, I have this pattern. I haven't made the dress. And I know before you say, Rochelle, why don't you just use that pattern? Because I'm going to pick up the other one to have the pants. That's why. I'm just going to be real with you. I'm going to pick it up still. Now for the pants, I know I have a pattern that's very similar to the pants, but I can't think of what pattern that is. So there we go. I can't think of what it is. So I'm just going to pick up the pants too. I mean, like, I'm going to pick up the pattern. Now for view A, it's only 5 pattern pieces plus the elastic guide. And for view B, we're just going to say it's a lot of pattern pieces, about 13 pattern pieces for view B. Not terrible, not terrible or terrible, but let's just say for view B, it's a lot of pattern pieces. So take your time and sew in small pieces of time, small section of time. All right, you're welcome. I did 10 habits that changed my life and will help you too. I'll make sure I link to every video in the description box below. All right, but let's move over to her other pattern, which is 3168. And this one is a jacket with detachable capelet and 2 lengths by Mimi G herself. All right. Now for this one, it comes in PDF and paper pattern. It comes in 2 pattern envelopes, 8-16 and 18-26. Now this one is a slim fit jean jacket with a detachable capelet and 2 lengths. Now, this one detail includes the front button closure, chest patch pockets with the button flaps, jean style front pockets, the front and back yoke, and 2-piece sleeves with button cuffs. The photos what you see in the photos, view A and view B, are made in denim. So view A has a dark indigo, and then view C is made in like a twill khaki tan. I have some twill in my stash, and that's probably what I'm going to use compared to the denim. Now, it's hot as crap, or hot as hell here in Florida. So twill in, denim, I'm out. Okay, I don't even like wearing denim pants unless they got hosed or ripped. But y'all ain't here for that. Suggested fabric, I'm going to try to stay on task today. Suggested fabric for this one is your corduroy, your denim, your twill, your sateen, just to name a few there. You're going to need some interfacing, lightweight, fusible interfacing. In terms of the sewing skills is average to sew. Now, you know, you see the QR code, and if you've been around here for a minute, y'all know Mimi G does her own sew along. Sometimes Norris does it. Sometimes Brittany does it. However, you know, there's going to be a sew along for that. So stay tuned for the sew along when Mimi G decides to drop that sew along. I know the sew along for 3167 is up on Mimi G or even the Simplicity channel. So you could go to that now. It's already posted. It was posted today. All right. In terms of notions, A, B, and C, you're going to need some top stitching thread. 5/8 inch jean buttons is what you're going to need. 9 for view A and then 11 for view B and C. That's all you're going to need for that. All right. So I did mention that it reminds me of 2 other patterns. Now, I mentioned this in my video, okay? And the video was basically the patterns that dropped with Mimi G, the Sew It, Fence It, or Skip It 34 Mimi G patterns that came out, or whatever you want to call it, right? The patterns that I put on trial for Mimi G, all right? So it's in that video, and one of the patterns that I mentioned, well, this one did not come out in fall, but maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I can't remember. But it's 8845, which is a men's, teen, and Mrs. jean jacket, right? So this one is like the base of the pattern, okay? 3168. So her and Norris, Mimi and Norris is on this pattern. So this is like the basis. There is a sew along for this one. So you can go to that video if you have the pattern or whatnot. But it also reminds me of a pattern that I featured in that video as well, which is 1016. Now, this is a really old pattern. This is one of the, not the first 2 patterns that dropped, but I believe it's like the second 2 patterns that dropped that she did. 1016 is the pattern number. So it reminds me of that cape that she did for 1016, right? So I mentioned this in that video, and I think it's a brilliant idea to take the denim jacket and put that cape on it. Like, what? Mimi did her thing on that. Like, give props where props is due for sure. So I think it's brilliant that she did that. I like it. Now, let's talk about the pattern pieces. Like, total 23 pattern pieces if you're going to do both. So just take your time. Push through it. Control what you can control. Just push through it, okay? But I like this one. I'm going to be picking it up now. Y'all know. I'm just going to do mine in twill. I'm not doing mine in denim, but I will definitely do mine in twill. All right. But once again, it's 3168. Moving over to the next one, 3169. Now, this one to me is just your basic full skirt with the pocket. All right. So, I mean, let's get into this pattern first. This one is done in paper pattern only. This is a Mrs. and Woman full skirt. This is size inclusive, 3 pattern envelopes, 10 to 18, 20 to 28W, and 30 to 38W. This is a wardrobe staple. Each view features a invisible side seam zipper, a waistband, and hook and bar closure, and an invisible hem. Okay. View B has welt pockets. View C have lined patch pockets. Okay. Now, from the photo that the model is wearing in view B, it's a corduroy. The fabric suggestions are your corduroy, your linen, your medium weight denim, just to name a few. You will need some lining fabric for view B. Lining fabric. Lining fabric for view C will be like broadcloth, sateen, just to name a few. You're going to need some lightweight fusible interfacing. That's probably for the waistband. It is an average to sew pattern for that. I like what the model is wearing on that corduroy in view B. I like that. I like how they styled the model. The model doesn't look bad with that turtleneck. I don't think it looks bad. I like the plaid. Let's talk for a second. You know, in terms of notions, you're gonna need a 7-inch invisible zipper for all views, plus a hook and bar closure. So I mean, like, it says average to sew, but I think it's more so easy to sew. I think the reason why they say average to sew is because you have welt pockets that you're gonna be doing. But other than that, I think otherwise it would be an easy to sew pattern. Now, looking at the pattern pieces, if you are doing view A, it's 4 pattern pieces. If you are doing view B, it's 5 pattern pieces. And then if you are doing view C, it is also 5 pattern pieces. So this would be considered a 5 and below in terms of pattern pieces. So not terrible, okay? So this is one that I'm going to be picking up because even though I do not make a lot of full skirts, simply because I just don't. And plus, I don't wear a lot of skirts to work. However, I feel like if I make this and wear like some, I wouldn't even say knee high, but thigh high boots, it would be amazing. All right. But this one is 3169. Moving over to the next pattern is 3170. It is a pair of wide leg pleated pants with length and waistband variations. Okay. It comes in PDF pattern and paper pattern. It is 8-16 and 18-26. It reminds me of another pattern, but we'll get there. So this one is a white leg pleated pants. It's modern and comfortable fit. So this one features a waistband, fly front zipper, side seam pockets. View A and B have a hook and bar closure. View C have your belt carriers, button closures, and contrast top stitching. For the fabric in the photos, it is a wool blend twill suiting. And then the fabric suggestions will be your gabardine, your lightweight denim, and your linen blends, just to name a few. You will need some lightweight fusible interfacing. It is an average to sew pattern. Now, I like the suiting that the model is wearing. That's what the model is wearing in the photo. I like that. I love white leg pants. I love these pants. And yes, I am going to be picking it up. So in terms of notion, A, B, and C, you're going to need a 7-inch zipper for the fly front. View A and view B, you're going to need 2 hook and bar closure. And then you're going to need 1 5/8-inch buttons. View C, you're going to need 3 5/8-inch buttons. And then heavy duty top stitching thread is what you're going to need for this as well. So I do like this pattern. Now it does also remind me of a pattern that I actually have a sew along for. The only difference is it's not as wide leg as this pattern, 3170. So it does remind me of Simplicity 9926. It's just not as wide leg as 3170. But this pattern is white leg, not super white leg as 3170, but everything else looked to be the same. For this one, I also, like I mentioned, have a sew along for it. You could see my brutally honest pattern review for this one, and then my sew along as well. So for this one, I did a sew along for it. You could definitely see, you know, how I put it together. I show a full detailed sew along on how I put the pockets, the waistband. You know, you could see pictures of how to put it together. Just make sure you go to both the pattern review as well as the sew along. You could get details of what I thought about the pants. I love these pink pants, okay? You could go to both of those, see more information about that. But on Simplicity 9926. Now, in terms of 3170, I love this one. Let's look at the pattern pieces. For view A, you're going to need about 9 pattern pieces. View B, you're looking at about 9 pattern pieces as well. But view C, you're going to need all 12 pattern pieces. Not 12, I'm sorry about that. You're going to need 10 pattern pieces for view C. All right. But so it's not terribly bad, you know, in terms of pants, but quite a bit of pieces. Okay. But once again, this is 3170. Moving over to the next one is 3171. It is basically a unisex Western style shirt. Okay. So this one features a spread collar. Well, first, it's only available in paper pattern. In terms of sizing, 1 pattern envelope, extra small to extra, extra large. This pattern features a spread collar, front snap closure, 2 chest flap patch pockets with the snap closure, and a Western style front and back yoke. So it is long sleeve, finished with a snap barrel cuff, and then view A is a relaxed fit, while view B is a slim fit with the waist darts, okay? So in the photo, what you are seeing that the gentleman, view A, is wearing, he's wearing denim, and then the female in view B, she's also wearing denim as well. The difference is view A is a light indigo wash, but view B is a lighter indigo. It's more like a bleach indigo wash, if that makes sense. So view A is a light and view B is a bleach indigo wash. All right. So in terms of fabric suggestions, you have your chambray, your corduroy, your cotton, just to name a few. Shirting, you can use that. You could do that as well. You're going to need some lightweight fusible interfacing. It is an average to sew. Now, I like this, what they are wearing. I would do it in a solid if I was to do this pattern. I'm on the fence on this one. Like, I don't feel like I need it, but I do love button down shirts, but I think I'm going to skip this one for sure. The only thing you're going to need is 12 5/8 inch heavy duty snaps. That's it. Now, this pattern definitely reminds me of a pattern that I have in my stash. That is a Western style shirt, and that pattern is 1327. I picked this pattern up many moons ago. When I say this pattern, I picked up in like 2016, 2017, and it's still in my stash. I picked it up for my husband, not because he's into Western. I just did it because I felt like this would be a great pattern for a button-down shirt. And let me tell y'all, before y'all ask me about my husband's button-down shirt, it's still a work in progress. And before you be like, girl, you've been saying that for a while. Yeah, I've been saying that for a decade, but we're not here for that. Yeah, but it's 1327. Now let's look at the back of the pattern. We did that. Let's look at the pattern pieces. So for view A, you're looking at a lot of pattern pieces for both view A and view B. Not terrible. You're only going to need the snaps, but it's a Western style shirt. So lots of pieces, lots of steps. All right. So be prepared to take your time. All right. Once again, it's 3172. Next up is 3170. I'm sorry. The other one is 3171. This one is 3172. And this one is a men's vest and slim fit shirt. Now, this one comes in both PDF and paper pattern. In terms of sizing, it's 34 to 42 on the first pattern envelope and 44 to 52 on the second pattern envelope. Now, this is a two-piece men's pattern that features a tailored vest and a button-down shirt. The vest is a single-breasted tailored vest with button closure, front besom pocket and center back vent. Now, the shirt is slim-fitted, button front shirt. It has the wingtip tuxedo collar, the front button facing, and a French cuff. In the photo, the gentleman is wearing a view A is a wool, silk, and linen blend. And then view B is a cotton shirting is what he's wearing. Okay, so the shirt itself is a cotton shirting, and view A is a wool silk for that vest. All right. Some suggested fabrics are view A. You can do it in brocade, which is what I would do. Okay. You could also do it in a cotton blend. View B, the shirt, you could do it in cotton blends, linen, poplin, shirting, whatever you want, right? You're going to also need some lining for that vest. Don't skip out on the lining. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're going to also need some medium weight interfacing, and this is an average to sew pattern. All right. So I am very interested in the vest. Now, my husband needs some vests. I'm not going to even front. I'm not going to even lie. I would be interested in making him a vest. wouldn't it be cute to make his and her matching vest? Now, before you be like, Rochelle, you can't even get your husband a button-down shirt. You thinking about making him a vest? Yes, I am. And it'll go on the list. I think I'm going to put him on an alteration list, aka sew it for him list. Because I see y'all in my DM box on Instagram like, girl, make that man a shirt. Make that man a shirt. I know. It's still a work in progress. We'll have it done by the end of the year, and I will share that with you guys. It's still, I just need some time off in order to get it done, okay? Right now, my fall winter core capsule is what's at the top of the list. All right. Anyway, 3172. This vest top reminds me of another pattern. It's a Vogue 8987, which is a men's collared and collarless vest. It's very, very similar. It's not the same thing, but that pattern reminds me of UC. The only difference is it doesn't have the belt in the back for 3172, but it's very similar in my opinion. For 3172, it's a lot of pattern pieces. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to front, but it's also a men pattern. So yeah, it's cute. Am I going to pick it up? I'm on the fence. But let's move to the next pattern, 3173. Okay, so 3173 is basically a pajama pattern. I guess you could. It's basically an adult knit hoodie and pant pattern. Now, I am definitely going to skip this pattern. I don't need any pajama pattern because let's be real, I really don't wear pajamas to bed. So I'm going to skip it. But this is the pattern right here. It's easy to sew for this one. I mean, it's not bad, but nothing to phone home about on this one. I'm just going to put it up so you guys can see this one. But it's a hoodie and pant pattern. Nothing to phone home about. All right. But let's move over to the next one. Now I'm skipping all the way to 3177 and get into these last three patterns, which are vintage patterns. Okay. So the first one is the 1970s men's overcoat in two lengths. It's basically a vintage pattern from the 1970s. It is a fitted double-breasted lined coat that features a notch collar, front button closure, long set-in sleeves with the button trim vent, a back vent, patch pockets, top stitching trim as well. Okay. So some of the fabric suggestions would be your brushed wool, your canvas, your corduroy, denim, just to name a few there. Of course, this is an average to sew pattern. I like this pattern, but I think Norris have a pattern that's very similar to this pattern as well. 9389, I think. I actually mentioned that in my last video. The 34 Mimi G patterns that I put on trial. Yeah, it's in that video. You could go there and see it. I could also show you here in just a second what that pattern looked like. In terms of, this would be what the pattern looked like. The original pattern is Simplicity 5326. That is now 3177. This is the old pattern, what the instructions look like. And then they revamped the pattern to show you what it looks like now. Okay. They literally, if you notice, think about it. There's no I, right? There's no O. Yeah. So with that being said, this is what it looks like, but this is 3177. Now, if I type in 9389, which is Norris pattern, right? It looks pretty much the same. If you ask me, comment in the comment section below and let me know. Do you think Norris pattern looked like 3177, which is this pattern right here? Comment in the comment section below. Let me know. Moving over to the next pattern, 3178, which is a 1970s Mrs. Jif unlined front wrap coat pattern. And it comes in paper pattern only. The sizes is 8-16 and 18-26 on the second pattern envelope. Now, this Mrs. Jif coat pattern includes a long and short unlined wrap coat. It features front shoulder seam that has the extended shoulders, the stand-up collar, the patch pockets, the long satin sleeves, and it also have all of that, right? Some of the fabric suggestions would be your canvas, your double knits, your duck, gabardine, just to name a few, linen, poplin, twill. You can use a lot of different fabrics for this pattern. In terms of notions, this is a no notion pattern outside of seam binding, which is optional. It is an easy to sew pattern, okay? So it's basically just wraps around your body, all right? Now, this pattern, let's look at the pattern pieces. So this is the old pattern instructions. Now, when we look at the new pattern instructions, it's not many pattern pieces, but it is enough, okay? So I do like that, not many steps for sure, but once again, this is 3178. And the last pattern, also a vintage pattern, 1970s. It's a one main pattern piece, a GIF pattern, okay? And it's a caftan, okay? Now, this pattern comes in both PDF and paper pattern. Choose at your own risk. It's one size fit all. And one thing I like about it is that, you know, you can make it short, you can make it medium, you can make it long. This one features a high round neckline with front slit trimmed with frog, braid, or a bow, which is optional for sure. It also has a casing, which is, of course, optional. Elastic casing, which is gathered into the arm opening. All right. Some of the fabric suggestions would be your challis, your crepe, your printed silk, sateen, just to name a few. It's a very easy to sew pattern. I actually like this pattern, but of course I'm going to leave it on the shelf. I do not wear a lot of caftans, so I don't want to pick up something and I'm not going to wear it, right? So yeah, that's what you have there. So let's look at the pattern pieces for this one in terms of in terms of pattern pieces for $31.79. Before we get over there, this is what the old pattern looked like. You're looking at Simplicity 5680. If you have that old vintage patterns, they reissued. And it's literally two pattern pieces because A and A1, I'm sorry, three pattern pieces. A1 is the front and back, which you'll be joining A1 to A. Like you see join, and then it says short, medium, tall. You would join based off of how tall you want it, if that makes sense, all right? But yeah, that's what it is. And those are all the patterns that dropped with Simplicity 2025. You know what? Here's the funny thing. Like, I like, this one is a decent collection. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I do appreciate, like, literally having this entire collection to go through. So let me know in the comments which ones were your favorite. All right, you guys, there you have it. Those are the 16 patterns that, well, they dropped 30, but I'm only sharing 16 patterns with you guys today. Let me know in the comment section below which ones you are going to be picking up. I shared which ones I'm going to be picking up with you guys. It's not many. Okay. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If this video was educational, inspiring, and fun, you already know what to do. Give your girls a thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Share this video with a friend who can use this information. And turn on that notification bell so you are notified of upcoming videos, okay? So that's it for this video. Until next time, keep going, keep sewing, and definitely keep that pattern stash growing. Until next time, peace.